Foundation of business communication, the communication model. Communication is the process of sending and receiving messages. There is 5 parts to the communication process. You have the communication need, which moves over to the sender. Then you have a message that's developed, which moves on to the audience. Then the response is developed, which moves back to the sender. Then the process starts all over again. The first part of the process is the communication need. With any business, there's always a topic that needs to be communicated. However, before the discussion begins, there has to be a thought that needs to be in business communication, there are a lot to think about and do before the message goes out. First, we have to think about the culture of the institution and the laws that govern. For example, questions should be asked. Is this a serious or a good news conversation? What are my legal and ethical boundaries in a written message? Next, I need to pinpoint who will retrieve the message. We need to know the educational background, the role in which they are employed within the organization, how the message will affect them, and how they will respond. Third, we need to determine the energy of the message. Once we know all who retrieve the message, it should be easy to set a tone. For example, how do we want the employees to think? Is there anything the employees need to do? Do they need to feel encouraged, alert, understanding, optimistic, reassured, and so on? Really important, we need to pick how the message will be delivered. Will it be an oral message or an email, instant message, or a mail out? Finally, once all the research is done, it is time to construct the message. The message and the medium. The message is the information to be communicated, and you may do it through 3 forms: oral, written, or nonverbal. The medium is the tools or the method you use to communicate your message. If it's oral, you may have a staff meeting or an individual meeting, a telephone call, or even the good old company grapevine, which I like to call the water cooler conversation. Also, you may go through the written path. You may do emails, brochures, tweets, or the company newsletter. Nonverbal communication is the one that's kind of tricky. Those are your facial expressions. If you're giving off a message that is where you want the receiver to be happy, you would smile, or gestures, like um, the scratching of the hair or the crossing of the arms. Those are the body movements that you would do for nonverbal communication. The audience and response. The audience is the receiver of the message. The audience is the one who takes in the message and then he decodes the message. He breaks it down and understand it through his education, through his life bringing, through his or her understanding of words. Also, after they decode the message, they give feedback. How did they feel about the information? Was it a happy information? Was it sad information? Was it information that they need to go and do more work and give feedback? The response. The response after the audience decodes the message is the response. That's the beginning. It begins the cycle all over again. It goes back to the sender, and the sender repeats the process again.